sure that they don't get stretched and pulled around and invite the Netherlands to play between them.
Gakpo trying to slide it in, Netherland to hold it up and set somebody else up, set himself up. Well, he's been a bit of a stopgap central striker, often plays wide, and he's missed a lot of chances in the warm-up. I suppose you could say he missed this one, but it was a good effort.
Great effort, Martin. He does really well, doesn't he, to gather that, to get really close, and this Taniguchi actually gets a little too tight to him. Once he's rolled him, then he's always going to get that shot away. It's a really good hit, and it's a good stop from Suzuki.
Well, this is going to be an issue. It's an issue in football, not just in World Cups and high-level football, the grabbing and grappling. The lawmakers are trying to take some of that out of it. But it's an almost impossible thing to call, isn't it?
It's very difficult.
Even with VAR.
Yeah, it's very difficult when everybody's doing it. This is that shot again from Daniel Marlon. Engineered the space for himself really well, actually. Although the goalkeeper saves it, almost too quick for him. Kind of bends his fingertips back, but it just about gets behind it and does enough.
He's been playing in Italy, Serie A, Simon Suzuki, and it's really taken Japanese goalkeeping to a new level in terms of ability and also in terms of height as well. Marlon. There's a bit of style about these early minutes from the Netherlands.
Yeah, really nice. Good play again. It's just a little fiery, the ball back from Daniel Marlon towards Somerville, but really nice work initially. The way that Gravenberg weaved his way infield and in that little give and go, very nearly.
And Paul Van Hecker touches it back. Bart Verbruggen, the two Brighton players. There's another one in the squad as well. And that's Viva. And it's understudy to Dumfries, who's on the ball here. Van Dijk's an extraordinary character, really, because he wasn't an instant success as a young player in his own country. In fact, he's probably more appreciated certainly in the northwest of England, but in England generally, than he is at home, even though he's the leader of the game. Clever change of direction, catching out Van der Ven.
It's good feet actually, that Rueda. Van der Ven there, a little bit clumsy, that challenge on the opposite side of the field, not a natural one for him, and he's so quick, he probably feels he can get tight and still recover, but that's a careless one and a needless one in that situation to concede.
Kamada over the ball. Kamada has arrived for his country, having won a trophy with his club, Crystal Palace. The Europa Conference League. Real chance to put some pressure on that zonally set up back line from the Netherlands. And it's a deep one. Has it gone out? Flag is up to suggest that it had already gone out.
Just a little too deep, that one, wasn't
it? It was a good idea because they overloaded well.
Correct. Three of the blue shirts just spun towards that far post there, but just a fraction too heavy. A good tempo to the game. Nice start to it.
We don't have to worry too much about the temperatures because there's some air conditioning in here. The hydration break will happen because it's a tournament rule, but you probably wouldn't need to if you were just looking at this as a one-off fixture. But there's Ruben van der Sar and Wesley Sneijder, the top two appearances for the Netherlands.
Is that right?
Yeah.
All top players, they certainly were.
Comes to Frank de Boer, one of the twins, and Memphis Depay, who's on the bench here today. I'm sure those two we've just seen would like to be their boots on. I'll bring it back to you, Andy, coming to...
Well, no, it's lovely. It's lovely to be here to to witness a World Cup. They're always very special. Been a long build up to this one, but it's well worth the wait.
So, Maeda with a cross. Timed his run well. There was no suggestion of offside, and Japan come again. Nakamura. Long attempted diagonal from Canada. Quite come off. What we do have in the stadium, Andy, and really look up at it at the time, this massive jumbotron screen.
Yeah,
I'm not using a commercial term there. Everybody will know what I mean. It's huge.
It certainly is.
Effectively, there's Taniguchi.
And I think what we've seen in the opening 8.5 minutes, I think no surprises that the Netherlands, look, with their back four closer to the halfway line, kind of dictating the tempo of the game. Japan, when they get it, when they turn the ball over, want to get forward really quickly. And they're good at that. And so Ronald Koeman's team have got to switch on. When they go out of possession, they've got to recover very quickly. If they don't, if they sleep, they'll get caught.
De Jong perhaps hasn't quite fulfilled the wonderful potential he showed as a very young player. Went to Barcelona, had injuries. He's here and can maybe become the midfield maestro that it's always looked capable of being. And Hector. Put out by Doan. Studious.
Yeah.
I mentioned earlier, Snyder scored the goal in the World Cup, the only time these two teams have met in 2010. Tie came 1-0. With a skimmer from Virgil van Dijk.
Doan would like to get forward, Martin, a little bit if he can, but he's having to make sure that he does a bit of a job on Cody Gakpo out there, making sure that he tracks all those runs. That the three central defenders of Japan don't want to get shifted and moved and disrupted. They want to stay quite narrow and quite tight. So those wide players have really got to work up and down.
Some Dutch players in the penalty area. That's why it's been a retake. Hasn't always happened, but it's presented straight back to the Netherlands. Anything aerially around Van Dijk in any part of the pitch, really. He scored 12 goals for his country. Only Koeman scored more as a defender. And here is the man you mentioned, Mr. Doan, who was a big player for Japan in the last World Cup in Qatar. Ito. Nakamura. Another again trying to feed it in. And Maeda, it was very, very nippy. Nearly took it away from the defender. And Hector put him in an awkward situation there.
Yeah, and Dumfries just ball watching for a split second. Just nearly got caught on the wrong side. All right, Diza Maeda, always alert and lively.
He's a real sprinter. Here's Doan. Sliding it in, hooked away by Van Dijk. Marlon giving token chase no more. Hasn't really been this kind of situation much in the game so far when Japan have put their foot on the ball at the back. And the Netherlands are dropping into their defensive shape. Ball to Ito. He's one of the back three, but will use his passing skills. Canada. Couldn't have had a shout for the dummy. It's Reinders trying to get it through for Gakpo.
Yeah, he was just waiting for Cody Gakpo to give him the signal. And just looked to burst forward. Unfortunately, they just weren't quite on the same wavelength.
I think the Dutch FA, and he's gone public saying we expect to get to the semi-finals.
That's a bold statement.
Ronald, get on with it.
Yeah.
Ito. What they have done, Japan, they've always had good technique since they had professional football. They've added some tenacity, some resilience, and some you've got to work hard to beat us mentality.
Absolutely right. They've shown that in the months preceding the tournament. Another good run there from Maida. That's his natural tendency. That's what he likes to do. He likes to show for the ball spin and get in behind defenders. And if you can provide him with the right service, as they did there, then he's always liable to make something happen.
Corner for Japan. Sano. The Dutch not able to push out very far because there's no pressure on the ball. Kubo cleverly waited. And they're shouting for handball, I think. Or at least a corner, it's a goal kick.
Yeah, it's a good block actually. Van Hecker at the near post. And tracks that run of Maida. Clever little play down the left-hand side. The defender is always across there. Gets his big frame right in that little gap to make sure that he sees it out. In the end, he gets the goal kick too. It's good defending.
That was Taniguchi, one of the centre-backs, crossing.
Exactly, yeah. Really good ball.
There's no inferiority complex about Japanese football today. That might have been the case when they first burst upon the scene. You don't sit there as the coach did in this stadium last night in the press room and say, we have come here to win the World Cup, unless you've got a lot of belief. But decade in, decade out, you don't find many more self-beliefs that are stronger than that of a Dutchman. Dio, Van Hecker. There is a saying that you hear from the Netherlands, if it ain't Dutch, it ain't much. Here's Van Hecker trying to show Dutch dominance here in Dallas. And around. Somerville, who actually plays a lot on the left in English football. He's just been relegated actually from the Premier League with Japan, with West Ham United. Good covering by Ito. The defenders are there where they're supposed to be when they're needed.
Oh, they are. They certainly are. The Nakamura is going to, again, have to keep eyes on Somerville. When he gets the ball, he's the one coming out now to front him up. Force him backwards or across, that's it, job done. And that's the kind of got to be the key for him every time they look to roll it into Somerville's feet.
I think two things are going to be vital in this World Cup, apart from the obvious. It's energy, total energy. Maybe that is a bit obvious. But in these circumstances, you're away a lot as well. You've got to keep up that belief in your physicality and also set pieces.
Yes, they're always crucial, Martin. They're becoming more prevalent everywhere. If you're good at them, it's such an asset.
Here's Somerville. Gets his cross in well. Kubo trying to play his way out of trouble. He might just have done that. to go on. Richie is an interesting character. He's had to develop wearing contact lenses. I'm sure he's not the only top footballer who does that, but he talks about it a bit. His eyesight, or lack of it, hurt him early in his career. Great skill to him. The crowd love that. All the World Cup lovers love a little show of individual supremacy, as that was, and it's led to this attack, which could possibly lead to the opening goal. And Marlon stopped in his tracks.
Lucky. Just one too many there, Daniel Marlon. Might have got the shot away, wanted to just take it that extra few yards further in the box.
Marlon's just finished a loan spell in Serie A from the English club Aston Villa with Roma. He scored 10 goals in his first 12 Serie A games, equaling a record only previously held as a foreign player by Gabriel Batistuta.
Wow.
That puts him in good company.
Well, it certainly does.
Just the one shot so far in the Dutch, and it was from Marlon. It's on the move here. It's well cut by Gravenberg. Now Van Hekke. Daklo. He very rarely goes on the outside, but he's played a 1-2 here that could have got him in behind. Fans wanted a foul, not the players, they just got on with it. Beyond. Some of it. Lively first 20 minutes. First 20 minutes of World Cup football 2026 in Dallas.
Just watching Dendel Dumfries, number 22, is right hand side of the screen now. Fullback, every time it goes, here he goes again, wants to get in the box because he's a big, tall lad.
And coaching staff have been saying we want to improve the percentage of possession we get in big games like this. But when you trade space and just drop off like that, it's going to tick on for the team with the ball.
You just have to be a little careful sometimes. You don't become too passive, sitting off. You've got to make sure that you throw a punch or two of your own when you get the ball and commit people forward. But certainly in areas like this, they're going to sit very tight. No genuine pressure on the ball yet. And then they've got to try and shut that door, block those gaps.
You mentioned at the beginning Endo being left out, was told by the coach, Moriyasu, you're not going to be with us. A couple of days ago, almost a brutal, cold-blooded accent. It hasn't gone down well with the Japanese public back home. And he's had a lot of injuries, that's the reason.
Yes.
He obviously didn't feel he was fit enough to go through a long tournament. Well, I hope it's a long tournament for them.
Those coaches, Martin, they're paid to make big calls, not friends.
Yeah. Beautifully put. Hydration time. paced.
Yeah. I think there's been some moments when it goes up a notch, when the speed and the intensity goes up, then we can see that both teams are capable. As you would imagine, a lot of healthy respect for each other. And I think they feel that they are the two strongest teams in the group, and they don't want to perhaps, or at this stage, just a little bit more mindful of conceding rather than really getting on the front foot and trying to take full control of the game.
Yeah, I think they'd be careless, teams of this stature, not to get through to the knockout phase with the fact that a number of third-place teams will get through.
Very true.
It does seem a lot of football before we get down to, I suppose, the real deal, but I like it because of the democracy of it, Andy, that more and more nations are getting a chance. Curaçao scored a goal today against Germany. I mean, you can't buy those moments.
You can't. No, I'm totally with you, Martin, on the 48 teams. I really am. And I think a lot of the smaller nations, lesser-known nations, in footballing terms, are improving year on year. They're getting better. They're getting more competitive, and that will help future World Cups. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how some of the teams fare today. Yeah, Curaçao, it was a tough one for them up against a team with real pedigree in Germany. And I'm afraid they were on the end of a bit of a hiding, but they've got to pick themselves up, and they've got other chances now to recover.
Fans of all ages here. They will remember this day for the rest of what we very hopefully long lives. We're pointing out the possession stat to me, Andy. The Japan have got
35% so far. Yeah. So, and they are a team, I think, that are comfortable, I think, in their own skin, in sitting and letting the opposition have it. They don't panic. They trust absolutely the way that they go about their work, and the results typify that.
You mentioned the teams they've beaten. They beat Brazil in this season that's coming to an end back before Christmas. And then in March, they went to Glasgow and beat Scotland, who've already got a win in this World Cup. And then they went 4 days later to Wembley and beat England.
Did indeed.
Who are due here. They're next on at Dallas next Wednesday. I'm not sure what time zone when you're listening it is, but for us it's Wednesday. And he starts with Sidoan with the throw. To work the 1-2, a little bit of cleverness around the edge of the penalty area. Some attempts at direct Dutch football. In the end, never got quite into a position, Daniel Marlin, where he could feel comfortable he was going to release the ball accurately.
Yeah, just couldn't get his head up, could he? He was under pressure, fighting with the ball a little bit.
The way by Van der Ven, who's built like a centre-back and often plays there, but he's got the chance in the national team relatively recently as a left-back who can use his pace. He has a lot of.
I see Frankie de Jong there dropping back in as well. Just making sure that he stays with Kubo.
Seen the calling card of Kubo as yet. The Japanese Messi was christened early in his career, partly because he grew up, he had a very early move to Barcelona and went to the famous football education centre there, Masia, by Ito, out to Kamada. A bit of ring fencing going on here by Japan. Wide by Sano and by Belanda. Set up for wanted to get it onto his left foot, didn't have the time. And the left foot was involved from Ito. Nice play.
Unlucky, yeah, love that. Great combination work out on the edge of the box. That's the strike with the ball sailing over from Ito, but the ball off the right side was really good. Eventually, when it came into Maeda, him and Nakamura combining nicely, but just couldn't get that shot away quick enough.
It's Japan's first shot, first attempt. Off target, as you saw. Just trying to make an angle for him instead he uses Virgil van Dijk.
Not a lot of room for the Netherlands to find those players on the half turn just outside the edge of the 18-yard box. That's good play.
There's Van der Ven. Ito gets it away. It's the kind of acceleration that can get him into those situations. Some of it. And Hecker getting further and further up the pitch as the last man. De Jong. Gakpo. Reinders quite set the world on fire at Manchester City. His first season with the champion. He played in the Club World Cup, actually. He got signed in time for City's contribution a year ago in the United States. And by Gakpo, and Priest round the back. And you spotted it earlier, Andy.
Yeah, he's always prepared to make those gambling runs, Denzel Dumfries. Bottom of the screen, look, hand up in the air, just put it up there and let me attack it. He's just always struggling with that one. He could have done perhaps a little better trying to keep that back or knock it back for somebody else, but
he scored 11 goals as a defender. He's only one behind Van Dijk. The ref who technically has to stop it and then give it back to Frankie de Jong.
yeah,
Just gave an extra couple of seconds for Japan to reposition. And Fries.
that's the best joy that the Netherlands have had so far, Martin. When they go wide to Somerville or Gakpo and they're 1v1 with their man, and they try and get beyond them, take them on, or a little give and go, get into the dead ball line and standing crosses up. It's when they're looking at their best. They're not finding a lot of room for Reinders and Co in the middle of the park. Certainly in those wide areas, when they set it up and work it, and they can get behind Japan.
Gravenberg. Almost throw a blanket over all the outfield players. So far, the Dutch are getting up the pitch as a collective unit. But Japan are not blinking, rather they're staring the opposition in the eye and saying, you come on, you leave a bit of space in behind and we'll be at you. And maybe that's on his agenda for half-time. And Hecker, who's uncle, Jan Portfleet, played in a World Cup final for the Dutch, 1978. A family history there. And by Gakpo, Taniguchi, very positive piece of defending.
Good play there as well, Frankie de Jong. Headed clear, but immediately onto it, and the Orange pour forward once more.
Gakpo. Dijk. turn this strong period of possession into an orange onslaught. It's not quite that. And it's picked back by Marlon. He was looking to cross it. He's got a corner.
Well, just got their wires crossed a little bit there. Japan in the middle of the park. Kamada just here. Done the hard bit. Now he's looking for someone to take it. Daiser Maeda actually got in his way, and just for a split second there looked a yard of space for Daniel Marlon. In the end, a good block, and the Netherlands settled for a corner.
Reinders will take Roberta lined up on the edge as an outswinger. I think go 2 against 1 if he plays it short. In by Reinders. Van Hecker forced to save, and there's over the top. Yes, goalkeepers. He was in the right place, so they rather went straight at him, I think. It's Marlon's header, yeah.
Daniel Marlon, yeah, closely guarded as well there. He does really well to get that header away, and Suzuki thankful that it's a blue shirt that just is there to make sure they deal with that. But in the Netherlands, they've got a lot of big lads. They really have, and if that delivery is right, that could work for them. It's a good attempt, that, Daniel Marlon.
But they are being pinned back for long periods now. So 10 minutes to go to half time.
Yep, handball Nakamura there.
It's quite a high up position, that, but you'll be pleased to be in the ground. Will we see the football of Memphis in Dallas?
Another chance from this free kick. Johnny Reinders. Just give them something to attack. Give them a chance to go in after this.
When you're on top, you have to score. That's one of the old football cliches, and they're certainly on top, the Netherlands. And they should have scored. Well, maybe it was a bit of a stretch, but the pressure not paying off. Ronald Koeman's been saying that. 2 Gakpo goals in the last game and none against Algeria at home. Finishing is a bit of a problem.
Yeah, good ball in actually. It was a fast delivery. Attacked at the back post. I think he should do better there, Cody Gakpo. Yes, he's stretching for him, Martin, but I think his reaction says it all there. I think just got way too much on that. A scruffier contact maybe, and it might have been on goal.
Deliberately to take a little bit of the steam out of the Dutch. Grudgingly, you'd admire him, wouldn't you? But he was doing up the lazy referee, didn't hurry him up, so maybe that will come into fashion now. Some of those wigs certainly in fashion for the World Cup.
Yep, since the drinks break, the Netherlands, I think, have been superior. They looked and played more in Japan.
That's Jalen Hawkins of the Baltimore Ravens. And the NFL players do really like the all sports, of course, in the USA. This game, our football, their soccer, fighting for its place in a World Cup like this can only help. Strange enough, the president of the country gave the football authorities of this country some reasonable advice a couple of months ago. Get some promotion and relegation into your league. Don't think that's going to happen. Here's Van Hecker. De Jong. Van Dijk. Really got straight on that, so it got within the reach of Asensio Somerville. And Freeze trying to make an angle for him, but Somerville changed his mind. Either he served an attempted cross or it was a misplaced pass. What do you think, Andy?
Yeah, he'd done all the hard work there. Somerville done it really well as well. His Nakamura was tied to him, but he just managed to find it hard and just put it in there, but just got caught in two lines at the last moment.
There are two sides to the game, what you do with the ball and what you do without the ball, and Japan really being tested on the latter over the last 15 minutes or so. Almost since the resumption after the hydration break. Maybe there was something in the drinks that the Dutch took, but they've looked livelier since.
They certainly have. I think in the middle of Japan's midfield, I think Kamada and Sano could do with doing a little bit more. They need a little bit more control of the game. I think in general, we've seen the orange shirts in possession. We've seen those little raids now and again from Japan, but I think Moriyasu, the Japanese coach, would like to see his team exert a little bit more control on this game. I mentioned about being too passive, and at times they have been, I think, here a little too much. I respect the fact game one, they don't want to get beat, but you also can't just sit off and allow teams to find a rhythm.
Here's De Jong. Now Dumfries, Denzel, named after the famous Hollywood actor Denzel Washington. Here we are again. Possession for the Netherlands. Defending top priority for the Samurai Blue. America. 5 minutes to go to half time, plus of course added. Trying to come up with a penetrating partnership with his left back. Ricky van der Ven wheeled and turned and passed a few occasions, got into good positions. One thing about football, Andy, is you know only too well you don't have to win the game in the first half an hour.
Or not at all.
Japan looking to find a way to get a lead here.
Yeah, there's that little turnover of possession. All of a sudden, they're very quickly up the field.
Nakamura. And back into play, but clearly went out. Territorially, the Dutch in control. Nothing to show for it. Canada. Say here, Andy, that the players are slowing it down because they're feeling the heat.
No.
That's the way what they want to play the game.
Yeah, it is. I think happy to have a spell of possession, Japan, in the Dutch half of the field.
Lucia going forward, gets it back from Doan. Now Kamada. Yeah, see, right, Andy, they want a few touches on the ball. They're watching it being played around them, but not behind them, by the opposition for lengthy periods. Kamada. his weaker foot, but that's what Japan can do when they break out. Got him behind.
Yeah, great run, great ball from Watanabe, centre half. Crosses this one. Nakamura on that right foot, got to hit the target. Must try and hit that target. Certainly decent first touch, and the ball just sits up and it's really inviting there to be hit. But lovely run from a central defender into that wide right position.
He is a goal scorer, you know. He played for Reims or Reims, as they say in France, in the second division in French football. He scored 14 goals in that league, including 4 on the final day of the season, or in a game. Again, so plenty of touches. That's another one here. Three. It's a nice, pleasant, warmish atmosphere. A little soporific for the very young, but not for the football fans. And especially at this moment, it's the outside of the net. On the scourge of Dutch defenders in the Eredivisie, Ueda
just pulls away from Virgil van Dijk, dips towards the ball and then spins and just gets that couple of yards he needs. And you're right, Martin, with the goals that he scored this season, you'd expect him to hit that one hard and low across Verbruggen, maybe.
The run, the sort of thing that's brought him into a lot of good scoring positions, and he's delivered in the league.
Yeah,
because of course he's a big, it's just a bigger, you think it's the same chance with the actual mental pressure on a player to get a goal to put a team in front in the World Cup, as opposed to week in, week out in the day job, if you like. At 25 in the league, he was miles ahead of anybody else.
Just think there, keep it down, get over it. Just try and hit it as hard as you can from a wide angle. Keep it down on the floor.
We've got 3 added minutes, and that's the hydration break, isn't it? Nothing else. Japan can point to, and is one attempt on their goal from open play, which was very early on, wasn't it? Daniel Marlon rolled his man.
Yes, it was.
The Marlon header was from a corner. So
look, there haven't been a lot of goal-scoring chances and attempts. I think we always thought this one was going to be ultra competitive, and it certainly is.
You're not getting past challenge. No booking though. So can the Netherlands put these extra moments right at the end of the first half to really good use to get their first goal of the World Cup 2026? Marlon. Gucci with another great clearing header. Here's Somerville. Played wide to Gakpo by Van Dijk. Gakpo with his trademark move infield onto his right foot. Frankie de Jong and Paul Van Hecker. Japan working really hard, knowing the clock as well. They conceded a corner.
Yeah, right on half-time virtually, so they've got to make sure they deal with this, Japan. They saw that Daniel Marlon header that Suzuki saved really well. They won't want a repeat of that, so vitally important for Japan that they get tight and they deny anybody any space to go and attack the ball.
That was a ball delivered by Reinders, who's going to deliver this one as well. Added time before half-time in Dallas. Again, the pack in orange on the edge of the area, making their moves. Trying to lead the defenders. Again, they got to it. So it was an easier contribution from Zion Suzuki that time. But again, a little bit more on that, and they're going 1-0.
Yeah.
Well, Japan going 1-0 down. But they're going 0-0. And again, where territorially, the domination has been from the Dutch. Marlon in particular, with the early shot. And a later header, both of which brought the best out of Zion Suzuki. Japan, as you'd expect, have defended nobly. 0-0 at half-time. Time to the coaches to
Please be back. Please be back. On the way. Again.
Afif, malu naon.
Beli FIFA World Cup Meal dan dapatkan koleksi gelas legenda bola.
Ini yang saya sukai. Kalau panas dalam, bantu rendahkan dengan yang ada standarnya.
Goes to Messi, shoots. Oh, hits the post.
Come on, squeeze that, man.
Ciao, Guaci. Bye-bye.
Messi, great turn. He looks forward. Messi beats him. Messi, still Messi, shoots. Goal! Lionel Messi. This is football.
Ciao, Guaci. Ciao, Guaci. Play football.
Konami.
Bangun Indonesia. Hari ini, hari pertandingan. Tahun ini, Piala Dunia bisa ditonton gratis di TVRI. Televisi milik semua rakyat Indonesia. Karena kegembiraan ini milik semua. Kita rayakan dengan nonton bersama. Momen indah yang penuh kehangatan. Itulah Piala Dunia tahun ini. Karena kegembiraan ini milik kita semua.
Pemirsa TVRI, sudah selesai sudah babak pertama dan kita lihat memang sebegitu sengit dan sebegitu ketatnya sehingga sampai saat ini masih skor 0-0 baik Belanda maupun Jepang. Kita akan langsung membahas ke bungkus dulu bagaimana nih melihat permainan dari Belanda karena memang possession segala macam dan kesempatan-kesempatan banyak dari Belanda. Silakan.
Iya, saya melihat Belanda sengaja membiarkan Jepang memulai pertandingan dengan agresivitas yang sudah mereka perkirakan. Tapi Belanda juga sudah mengukur bahwa kalau Jepang tidak bisa masuk ke kotak 16, Jepang tidak berbahaya. Makanya mereka membiarkan pemain-pemain Jepang menguasai bola, posisi mereka banyak. Yang penting dijaga kotak 16-nya. Karena ketika Jepang syuting dari kotak penalti nggak berbahaya. Dan itu terbukti dari dari 3 syuting yang dibuat oleh Jepang, semuanya dari luar kotak dan tidak ada yang mengancam, tidak ada yang on-target.
Oke, ini menarik karena memang 3 shot tapi itu semua tidak berhasil. Ada apa dengan finishing dari Jepang? Silakan.
Ya memang karena disiplin ya. Kalau kita bicara disiplin pertahanan, kedua tim sebetulnya cukup disiplin. Dalam artian tidak ada peluang yang bisa dibilang dari open play yang bisa dibilang cukup mengerikan bagi kedua tim.
Ya.
Memang Belanda berapa kali mendapatkan peluang. Tadi kita lihat Netherland sempat menyundul dan memaksa Dion Suzuki melakukan saves. Tadi ada 3 save. Dari total shots memang Belanda unggul jauh dan juga shots mereka bisa dibilang berbahaya. Ini dari kita lihat ada peluang yang dilakukan oleh Daniel Malen yang bisa ditepis dengan luar biasa oleh Dion Suzuki ya.
Betul ya, 3 shot on target yang sudah dibuat oleh Belanda ya.
Dan sebagian dari situasi bola mati ya. Karena mereka memang maksimalkan bola-bola crossing.
Ya.
Mungkin peluang terbaik dari Jepang tadi ya, dari Nakamura.
Sayang sekali ya, masih off target.
Sedikit. Padahal kalau kita lihat kiper dari Belanda sebetulnya dalam posisi yang terlambat untuk mengcover. Kalau bola itu masuk lewat bawah sebetulnya itu on target ya. Tapi memang agak sedikit melenceng sehingga gagal untuk bisa membuka gol bagi Jepang.
Ya, terlepas dari memang kiper Jepang yang begitu baik gitu ya. Apa sebenarnya kebuntuan yang dialami oleh Belanda? Silakan Bungkus.
Iya, kalau Belanda sebetulnya bukannya buntu ya, mereka memang menunggu karena mereka tahu bahwa Jepang ini tim yang bermain dengan intensitas tinggi.
Ya.
Karena itu kita lihat sampai menit ke-20-an Belanda itu praktis tertekan ya. Tapi begitu mereka sudah mulai bisa melihat, sudah bisa mengukur cara main Jepang, Belanda mulai lebih keluar. Dan akhirnya kalau kita lihat nanti statistik, Belanda itu sebetulnya lebih banyak menguasai bola. Karena memang 20 menit ke atas itu sudah jadi milik Belanda.
20 menit ke atas sudah menjadi milik Belanda. Berarti ini menjadi sebuah tekanan lagi untuk Jepang ya. Apa sebenarnya yang perlu diperhatikan lagi dari Jepang untuk bisa menciptakan sesuatu kejutan di laga berikut?
Kita bicara momentum ya. Ketika tadi setelah hydration break atau water break tadi justru itu menjadi momentum bagi Belanda. Ketika mereka sempat beristirahat sedikit, langsung mereka bisa menguasai permainan. 20 menit ke belakang semuanya hampir dimiliki oleh Belanda. Tadi Jepang akhirnya menjadi dalam posisi yang mereka justru menunggu. Yang kita pikir mereka akan lebih menguasai bola dengan memulai serangan, dengan megang possession yang banyak, tapi ternyata Belanda yang kebalikannya mengambil inisiatif setelah mereka dari water break bisa melakukan possession yang lebih tinggi. Kalau kita lihat dari Jepang, memang Moriyasu punya beberapa strategi. Tadi sempat kita bilang, ketika dia mencoba untuk bermain dengan possession tinggi, apa yang harus dilakukan. Tapi ketika mereka tertekan, mereka balik bermain mencoba dengan counter. Tadi kan berapa kali mereka mencoba counter. Tapi memang apa yang kita katakan terhadap Van Dijk ketika dia bisa menggalang pertahanan yang seperti apa, siapa yang harus dijaga ketika masuk, itu menjadi salah satu hal yang membuat touch dari Jepang tidak banyak sepertiga terakhir. Ini yang menjadi masalah bagi
Ya, kita lihat sama-sama ini statistik dari babak pertama. Silakan apa tanggapannya, Bung Kus?
Iya, memang terlihat seperti yang saya bilang tadi bahwa Belanda menguasai permainan dari segi possession ya. Karena memang 20 menit ke atas mereka sudah bisa nyaman bermain. Belanda juga lebih dominan dalam serangan dengan 3 shot on target dari total 5. Jepang ini belum punya yang on target. Karena semua syutingnya dari luar kotak penalti tidak berbahaya. Memang itu pintarnya saya pikir Coach Kuman. Dia tahu bahwa Jepang itu berbahaya kalau sudah masuk ke dalam kotak. Dan Jepang tidak punya pemain yang bisa menusuk ke dalam. Jadi babak pertama tadi pemain-pemain Jepang hanya menyisir sayap tapi tidak bisa masuk ke dalam. Hanya ada satu momen ketika sempat terjadi cutback tapi itu pun masih bisa diblok. Jadi ini saya pikir di babak kedua harus diperbaiki oleh coach pelatih Jepang. Bagaimana membuat Jepang bisa lebih menusuk ke dalam.
Apakah itu akan terjadi dengan pergantian pemain, kita akan lihat nantinya. Tapi yang pasti di sini sudah ada head to head. Kita lihat sama-sama Daniel Malen dan juga Ayase Ueda. Silakan, Bung.
Dia mendapatkan 3 shots dan 3-3-nya on target. Kita bicara tadi tren ya, di mana Malen masuk ke turnamen ini dengan sangat luar biasa. Dia berganti-ganti klub dari Dortmund, lalu datang ke Aston Villa, dari Aston Villa ke AS Roma, berhasil mencetakkan belasan gol dalam rentang yang hanya dari Januari. Artinya ini pemain memang dalam kondisi yang sangat luar biasa. Kita bicara pemain nomor 9 yang dicari-cari Belanda, tidak ada Memphis Depay, tapi Malen hingga saat ini bisa menuntaskan tugasnya dengan begitu luar biasa. Paling tidak dari sisi chance yang dia create dan juga shots yang dia lakukan. Tinggal masalahnya bagaimana untuk menjadikan itu gol. Itu yang menjadi masalah bagi kedua tim di pagi hari ini.
Iya, dengan memuji-muji Daniel Malen ini, berarti kita juga secara langsung juga akan memuji bagaimana Suzuki, sang pemain muda ini juga tampil begitu apik ya. Silakan Bung Haryo.
Iya, Suzuki tampil luar biasa ya. Tadi kita bicara ada 3 shots yang mengarah ke dia, satu lewat, satu di atas, satu di tengah, satu di bawah. Artinya kontrol dia terhadap shots yang dia dapatkan bisa dikuasai dengan sangat luar biasa. Di bawah tekanan dia tampil dengan enak, bola yang dia mentahkan tidak mengarah ke pemain yang bisa mengambil second ball-nya, tapi justru ke kiri ke kanan di mana bisa dibuang oleh pemain belakang lawan. Posisi yang tepat berapa kali yang dilakoni oleh Dion Suzuki ya di pertandingan hari ini.
Ya, itu kalau kita bicara mengenai sepertiga lapangan, tapi kalau kita maju lagi seperti yang tadi Bungkus sampaikan bahwa memang bagaimana nih tusukan kedepannya belum terlalu terlihat. Itu yang mungkin akan kita bahas lebih lengkap setelah jeda-jeda yang berikut ini.
Get ready. Champions of the world! For the greatest event in history. In 2026, we'll bring the world together. 3 countries, 16 cities, 48 teams, 104 games. All of us, united as individuals, united as billions. So you and all of you, bring your game to the beautiful game. We are FIFA. We are football. New song, Somos. We are 26.
Masih di FIFA World Cup 2026 dan kita akan membahas bagaimana jalannya laga yang kedua nanti. Pastinya kita melihat di babak kedua ini sepertinya kita melihat dari Jepang akan terjadi perubahan pemain nih. Seperti apa melihatnya Bungkus?
Iya, tadi saya melihat Jepang bermain terlalu ke kiri ya. Mereka punya Nakamura yang memang banyak mendapatkan support dari Ito, sehingga serangan-serangan mereka banyak dipusatkan di kiri. Karena memang di sisi kanan Belanda itu Dumfries sering naik ya. Nah, masalahnya kan serangan kalau terlalu banyak dari area yang sama jadi mudah terbaca. Makanya saya pikir di babak kedua harus ada upaya membuat lini kanan juga, sisi kanan juga harus lebih efektif. Saya melihat hari ini Doan bermain agak kurang support dari belakang. Nah, mungkin ada beberapa alternatif bisa mengganti Doan dengan pemain lain, kan masih ada Ito di sana yang bisa juga bermain sebagai winger. Tapi juga tidak boleh dilupakan Jepang harus mengantisipasi kemungkinan di babak kedua Belanda akan bermain dengan striker jantung, Weghorst. Artinya mereka harus mainkan juga back tengah yang tinggi, Itakuro.
Wah, Itakuro itu di sana ya. Kalau secara skema permainan akankah terjadi perubahan juga dari Moriyasu?
Saya pikir hari ini mereka sudah bermain sesuai dengan game plan mereka ya. Cuma memang tidak terlalu efektif karena Belanda berhasil mengantisipasi dengan menutup area yang saya bilang tadi, half space mereka.
Iya, baik. Terima kasih Bungkus. Kita melihat sama-sama ini bagaimana timnas Jepang sudah mulai memasuki lagi lapangan dan bersiap-siap. Tadi kita sudah bahas juga dari sisi Jepang dan kita akan lanjut ke Bung Haryo, bagaimana melihat dari Belanda? Apakah harus ada perubahan yang signifikan? Tambahan pemain?
Iya, kalau kita bicara dari sisi kanan, Dumfries pun tadi tidak terlalu optimal juga ya. Kalau kita bicara, lalu dari sisi kiri, Van de Ven juga agak sedikit tidak membantu dari sisi serangan, terutama dari kedua wings, karena memang disiplin dari pertahanan Jepang cukup rapi, terutama bantuan yang dilakukan oleh pemain depan mereka. Reza Maeda sampai jarang sekali mencoba masuk ke dalam kotak penalti karena dia kebanyakan mencoba untuk bisa menahan gempuran dari kedua wings yang dilakukan oleh Belanda. Sehingga siapa yang coba dipilih oleh Koeman untuk bisa menambah daya gedor, terutama di sisi depan. Tadi memang pilihannya Weghorst menjadi salah satu pemain yang bisa melakukan itu ketika ada bola-bola atas. Cara jumlah gol yang sering diciptakan terutama dari sundulan itu yang rasanya dibutuhkan oleh Belanda di babak kedua ini.
Ya, kalau bicara mengenai lini depan dari Belanda, apakah akan ada perubahan juga? Silahkan.
Sebetulnya Gakpo cukup tampil oke, Malen juga oke, cuman dari sisi kanan ya, kalau kita lihat tadi ada kecepatan tapi tidak ada kemampuan untuk penetrate dalam kotak penalti. Itu yang menjadi salah satu masalah tersendiri bagi Belanda yang harus diadres oleh Ronald Koeman.
Ya, dan pemirsa, sebentar lagi kita akan melihat bersama-sama jalannya babak yang kedua antara Belanda melawan Jepang. Dari studio kami mengucapkan selamat menyaksikan.
Expects his team to prepare, and obviously had a long playing career because he did all the right things. But Ruud van Nistelrooy gave us a half-time interview incidentally, part of the coaching staff, a new appointment relatively. Kim Jonk is there, of Ronald Koeman's vintage really as a player. And also his brother Erwin. Go for the second half. Nothing outstanding really in the first half. A couple of good stops by Sion Suzuki probably would be the centerpiece of a highlights package. You do feel it's bubbling under because of the way that the Netherlands players have dominated the ball, but need to find a way of counter-attacking. Of course, is a good way to get in if they can. Coming at the far post. And retrieved by Reinders.
Great run, Somerville again. That's his pace. Sprinting away from the defenders there. They can do nothing about it. Just that ball across the box.
And Hecker, Gravenberg. In the end, passing him when he checked the first time, he might have shot. Right, and Hecker. Nakamura tried to steal it away. Somerville with those dancing feet. Here's Marlon. Sano, the replacement for Taro Endo, showing that he's got plenty of ambition in his play from sitting really deep in midfield. He's had to do that, Andy, hasn't he? Because they've just come on all the time.
Yeah. Again, they haven't been particularly expressive with the ball in the middle of the park, I don't think, Japan so far. The first thought every time is getting into this shape they're in now. Where they get back and they let the Netherlands have reasonable possession, allow them to creep forward and then try and pinch it. But it's risky.
Just need, maybe, if Ruud van Nistelrooy was out there as a player, he'd have been flashing into connect with that cross.
Clever play again though, Ryan Gravenberg this time making that really nice run, and that's not the worst cross in the world. He's got to hit it hard, he's got to put tons of pace on it, otherwise it doesn't beat the defenders at the near post. But it just was too big for anybody.
Ueda trying to get the Dutch up the field, and he's done quite well in that respect. That's hand clap from Moriyasu, the coach. Mike Koeman had an international playing career, 35 caps for Japan in the 90s. There's a bit of space there. Had that been just clubbed a little bit better. well, Nino. Marlon tried to make a nuisance of himself. And the back by Dumfries. It's an odd thing to say, and maybe I'm wrong, Andy, but look, the scrappier the game it comes, it suits Japan, but they're not a scrappy team.
No, they're a very accomplished team, they are, but...
It's stopping the Dutch.
Yes, exactly. If it knocks the Dutch team out of their stride a bit, then that helps.
Still wrong for Ueda, who is a threat, and the Dutch know it better than any other country. Tiny play from Frankie de Jong. Here's Gravenberg. It's going down the line this time. Maybe that was the message he got at half-time. He's got a free kick from it.
Yeah, and Doan there. He's trying to stand him up. He does really well. Nodi Gakpo just to knock it in behind him. And then a bit of obstruction, and now a free kick chance for Reinders again.
Still in the first 5 minutes of the second half. Gianni Reinders. And plenty of this on the training ground. It's fired in low was obviously the intention, but too low. And it's in. Virgil van Dijk puts his trademark on the opening game for the Netherlands in the 2026 World Cup. We've talked about his goal-scoring capabilities, and he's shown it to the world again.
Well, he's such a threat. If the delivery is good, if the delivery's got some pace on it, he's always liable to cause problems. That one from Reinders was poor, but when it goes out on the other side to Denzel Dumfries, then this one coming in with pace on it, Virgil van Dijk is good. There's no offside there at all, and it's such an accurate header that. Look, he's totally unmarked. It's just whether he gives anybody a little nudge, because he's got so much room there. But the header has got tons of accuracy behind it.
He's looking like a golfer, wondering whether the putt will go in.
Exactly. Great ball in, and just beautifully controlled and guided into that far corner. And they deserve their lead. They have been the better team. Maybe now we'll see a more aggressive Japan, a team that wants to get on the front foot a bit more, because I think they've spent too long in the game just sitting back and believing that they can shut the door permanently on the Netherlands. Well, I'm afraid that plan has gone out the window. They've got to come up with something else.
And Dijk, 6 minutes into the second half, his 13th goal for the Netherlands. He's only one behind Ronald Koeman now as the top scoring defender of their country. And this is how number 13 happened. Unlucky for Japan.
Yeah, there you can see, well onside, just times it perfectly. But again, it's a great ball in. I like players when they get in wide areas, Martin. You don't have to pick people out. You don't always have to look for somebody, but get into an area where people can make something of it, and that's exactly what they did there. Beautifully controlled header.
He planted it, didn't he? Absolutely planted it. Even using the natural fade as the ball goes that way, pushing it in off the post. Japan were complaining there was a little bit of a push as the ball came in.
I didn't think it looked like it was enough, did it?
No.
Not really. No, it doesn't take a lot sometimes to put you off and to disturb you as a defender, but I don't think they're ever going to get that one.
Virgil van Dijk will be doing plenty of that in his penalty area in a subtle way. But you have absolutely right. If you set yourself for something, as the defender did, and it's only a small margin, isn't it? A little touch, and it wouldn't have been a goal there, even just skimming his hair. And it's a goal it is. Simon Suzuki is beaten by the Dutch captain. And here's Kamada. I seem to remember in their wins over Germany and Spain in the last World Cup, they came from behind in both of them. So they're in that position again.
They need the ball first, Japan. They can't get it. They can't get it for long enough either at the moment to make anything worthwhile, anything really significant. That's got to change.
That was a lovely shot of him looking at the line of the header. Really, the precision of it. They emphasise the precision of it. Here's Van der Vet. The Dutch lead, and there's no disputing the value they have. But territorial supremacy doesn't always produce the what seems like a result of justice, but they certainly deserve to be in the lead here. And Dallas has seen its first goal of this tournament. Here's the man of the moment again. And that's the stat that matters. Just to add to Virgil van Dijk, he played every minute of every Premier League game for Liverpool. The oldest player at the age of 34 to do that. Not just for Liverpool in the Premier League. Here's Somerville, just behind Marlon.
Fabulous ball in behind Japan again there. And Somerville is electric as he gets onto that. It's a great little clip ball in behind him. Marlon just can't get in front at the near post to maybe get something on target, but great running power once more. There it is. This is the referee's shot of it. He's got a lot of room there, Martin, didn't he? He had so much room.
He did, and it wasn't a consequence of a big shove, was it? And the angle showed what the referee saw and why he reacted as he did. All those minutes he's played, actually Van Dijk's into double figures for the season with 11. There's Kubo needs to impose himself on the game. He's got the talent to do that. Nakamura, the radar who they're aiming for. They need a rallying cry. Japan. Kubo. Nakamura had the shot. They've got the rallying cry. It's 1-1 in Dallas.
Well, I said they've got to come up with something different now. That's better. That's a lot more like the Japan that all these fans in blue expected to see this afternoon. Great run, really good run from Kubo. Then he shows a bit of composure. And you just feel that Nakamura there doesn't have the room for the shot. He certainly does. Dies Maeda there. It's very close. It's his touch, actually. He's very close to being offside, but I think Van der Ven plays him on at the back post. Have a look here. Oh, it's a defender, Van Hecker. Certainly hits Van Hecker, I think, Martin, as it flies past the book, and he's got no chance with it. Great strike. And Nakamura take the chance.
Yeah, I This is being looked at. It looks as though Van Hecker's foot got there first, doesn't it?
Did.
Otherwise, it would be an offside call potentially, and also it would have been Maeda's goal if it wasn't offside.
Yes. Good point.
On the big screens, it's Nakamura's face that's smiling, and down on the pitch as well. Well, the game was building up in the first half, shall we say, and now it's suddenly exploded into life.
Yeah. It certainly has.
A long throw. Kubo couldn't keep it. I mentioned he's got a good goal-scoring record in the French second division. He spurned a chance to hit one with his right foot in the first half.
He did.
Freeze again, and the goalkeeper, Bart Verbruggen, the Bartman. Pardon, Zion, the Suzuki, comes out and makes a real strong catch. But it's got to go again. Do you like goalkeepers when you were playing, Andy? The goalkeeper to come and take charge?
Well, yeah, if they can come and grab it, Martin, of course. What you don't want them to do is spill it. We're encouraged, I think, more nowadays to just try and get some height on it with a punch.
He doesn't come this time. It's not quite thrown as long. Japan going to get into that counter-attacking mood. Van Dijk's still in the opposing penalty area. He will stay there. It's a corner.
Yeah, and they're a problem for Japan, these corners and wide free kicks. Again, I mentioned, if you look at Van Dijk and Van Hecker, you look at Gravenberg, all of these guys, Dumfries, they're big lads.
And Donald Marlon had the header in the first half,
yes,
and then he scored.
Exactly right, Martin. So they've got some good numbers there.
Slight change of approach in terms of the setup. Near post, Japan deal with it. Look to break. And they are broken. Samurai Blue on the break. Stopped. Senegal will chase back. And that's booked to that.
Yeah, he was always going to get a yellow card for that one. There's a chance there.
So good for the team, man.
Yeah. I don't blame him for doing that. I think many would have done the same.
Takes. Here's Nakamura again. Kamada. There's Maeda. Squeeze it across. The ultra against him. Gohan was in there.
Better, I think, though, from Japan. Actually, just that couple of minutes before they equalised, they just started to pick it up a bit better. That's the strike from Nakamura.
Yeah, it is. Van Hecker gets there first. Would he have saved it? Well, it wouldn't have got there because Maeda was in the way, wasn't he?
Might not have seen it yet until it's flashed past him, but now we've got a proper game now.
We'll say there's a good half an hour of it left. Netherlands won, Japan won. Very much reverting to type. 8 of their last 9 World Cup goals have come in the second half, including those wins over Germany and Spain.
feet.
Gravenberg, he gets into those positions and doesn't shoot as often as you might think, but Somerville's having a crack here. Oh! He's off and running, and the Dutch are back in front. His first goal in international football. He let fly from a tightish angle, really.
Great goal. Initially started with that lovely work from Gravenberg. And that Denzel Dumfries run on the overlap allows Somerville to drag in on the left foot, which opens everything up. And then it's just about hitting it hard enough and keeping it on target. Yeah, but it's a great finish. A really good strike that, the way he hits that.
Yeah.
Got enough pace on it, starts outside the post and brings it back in. Great goal. Great response.
Well, Ronald Koeman told me yesterday when I asked him about Somerville, as he would have played earlier, but he had injuries in his time in England. He only ever played for the Netherlands in this month of June 2026, and he's now got a goal to add to a third cap. I was about to tell you and the world that the Dutch hadn't lost a World Cup game after scoring first since 1978 to Scotland.
Wow.
Archie Gemmell's famous goal, yeah. Japan have got a lot to do to make that stand relevant. 2-1. It's exploded to life in the second half.
He's probably been, I think, their most positive forward player, Somerville. He has, whenever he's got the ball, even in the first half, taking Nakamura on, trying to get some crosses in the box. That was great from him, really good.
And here they come again. Gakpo could well be offside. Somerville coming into the opposite side. Gakpo still going. And the flag is now given.
Yeah, flag went up actually a little bit before, but Cody Gakpo wasn't to know. He's always a little too keen there to get in behind and turn the ball over nicely. He's just offside there.
Well, we've got the advanced semi-automated offside system here, haven't we? Lots of cameras and data points. So Maeda is off, and Junya Ito is on. And 3 goals in just over 13 minutes here. And Japan were level for some 6 minutes in that period. So looking to second equalise with Kubo. Oh! Wow.
Love it. Why not? As soon as he picks that up, I tell you straight away, Martin, there, once he gets that, all he's thinking about is getting the shot away. But it's always rising. I think Verbruggen would have dealt with it reasonably comfortably had it been under the bar, but it's a nice strike.
Well, I know why we're having the hydration break, and it's within the regulations, but the game has reached a point where everybody will probably like to play on. 3 goals.
Yeah, and some good goals at that. And I think the second half, the Netherlands started really positive again and took the lead. Japan responded really quickly, only for Crescencio Somerville to produce another really good goal.
I would really like to ask Ryan Gravenberg, who's only scored 1 for his country, why he gets into those positions and doesn't shoot. Well, it didn't matter, did it? But Somerville showed the value of the shot.
He did, but you know, I think that's really one. It's very unselfish from him, but 2, it's smart football because he knows that there are better finishers and executors of chances than him. And his job is to just try and get that ball in that position and then give it to those boys and let them go and do it. And Somerville helped with that Dumfries run around the outside of him. That just gave him a bit of space, Martin, but you're right. Gravenberg, he showed really good feet and close control out of a tight situation.
I know it's not over fashionable now with the coaches who love passing for midfield players to get to those areas and shoot all the time. When you were playing, you know, a lot of players did that. You had your moments certainly doing that.
Well, that was part of the business as a midfield player. Certainly many years ago, you get in shooting territory, you get a chance to hit it, and you did so. Nowadays, and I get there's a reason sometimes to keep it and keep going wide and keep the pressure on, and there's a lot of shots that sail over the bar. They relieve all the pressure, but that was a really tidy finish from Somerville. Really nice work.
And the changes are being readied by Ronald Koeman. In Hot Miners, he's a good Koeman man, really. He's played a lot under Ronald, including his move to Juventus, which he's enjoyed very much, actually. And we are going to see Memphis Depay for Daniel Marlon. Such an important player that Ronald Koeman made a trip to Brazil to see what the level was, he said, to see what sort of level he'd been doing well, despite some injuries. Very impressed with the level. It's not the worst place to go on a scout mission.
That's an interesting call, Martin, taking Somerville off.
Yeah.
After just knocking one in like that. That's a very interesting call. Dejani Reinders never really got involved too much. But taking Somerville off when he's flying, that's a big call.
Well, the Timber who's on, of course, is not Jurian, who had to pull out of the squad, but his twin brother Quinton plays for Marseille, more of a midfield player. They've had a few twins, haven't they? The De Boer twins.
They have.
And the Kirchhoffs going this way by. Identical. These two are identical as well, the Timbers. Hot Miners has filled in a gap on the right-hand side, and there's a tactical switch rather than putting a like-for-like player on. He's just going to make sure that there's a Japanese player actually injured on the far side. I think he's going to make sure that they don't get down that left-hand side, and Nakamura's capable of doing it.
I get that, Martin, but just seeing there, that was that challenge from Dumfries, how quickly got out to Kubo there to deny him and pinch the ball. Yeah, just coming back to that Somerville change. I mean, putting Hot Miners there and having experience and making sure that you've always got good numbers behind the ball. I get that, but the Netherlands score again, and they're effectively putting the game to bed, I think.
By Van Dijk, elected by Gravenberg. I think Kubo's race is wrong. He's dropped to the ground over the left on the far side, and Gakpo still going here, trying to squeeze it in. Everyone knows what Cody Gakpo's going to do. Knowing it's not, gives you the ease of stopping him.
Correct. Difficult to stop. It's a really good save, actually, this from Suzuki in goal. Cuts inside, though, and then hits it hard. Right into that near post. That's going in. That's creeping inside the near post. Excellent goalkeeping.
We feel another goal here would put the game to bed, even against feisty opponents like Japan from the Netherlands. Right at the far post.
Yeah, Span Hecker is backpedaling all the way and just can't really get any genuine power on it. Took a fair old bang in the face there, hasn't he, at some point?
Yeah, that was in the first half, I think. Unless he brought it with him. Is preparing his changes as well. Taniguchi, Gohan. Down again, it's got on the Tabo, brilliant and setting up.
That's a recovery place of Mickey van der Ven there. Because that's lovely football from Japan down the right, so really good.
Well onside.
Look at van der Ven has given him 3 or 4 yards there. He maybe didn't need to quite take that touch. Watanabe, but it's a great run.
So we've got a triple substitution for Japan. Gohan coming off. Sugawara, who's a right-sided player, right back or right wing back. Watanabe off, Kubo off, Gohan off. Tomiyasu, who would be a regular, has had a lot of injuries. He's been playing for Ajax recently in the Netherlands. Takes.
Yeah, and that time there. Could have just done with settling that one down before he hits that.
A bit of a reach for that from
Scott Miners, wasn't it? Who got
it was.
Just
Timber was in there as well.
Just couldn't quite wrap his foot around it to get anything significant on it, but lots of changes, Martin, now from both teams. There'll be a bit more room out there.
Gravenberg. No foul. Camera. They dug deep to get the first equaliser. Burrow on down to come up with a second. Lafito on that left-hand side now. Renucci. Sugawara. Ito. That's a ball that the goalkeeper thought about going for and realised it was going to whiz on past him. He couldn't cause the Dutch any great danger. Ito. Sugawara.
Wade, it was just shaping up for something spectacular there.
Kimura. A touch from Van der Ven. Japan found a way back onto the front foot.
Yep, needs must. They've got to take risks now. They have to. Got to try and get back in the game.
Ogawa on. He scored 6 goals in qualifying. Sugawara's throw. Dyke climbing. Go back to Sion Suzuki. He's come back well. He had a broken hand in the autumn. Got himself cleared as quickly as possible with an injury like that.
Odawa's gone up front alongside Ueda, really. They've not played with a number 10. It's kind of an area that they're usually blessed with some amazing players in that particular area of the field, Martin, but they didn't start the game with one there. Now they've got a little bit more in that, so a little more presence up front, Japan, if they can find them.
Between them are the top 2 goal scorers in qualifying, and they produce a goal here. Ito. They're certainly producing a chance.
Tomiyasu, great one, just didn't hit it. Just didn't get it, did he?
And that's what they'll do. They'll throw players forward. Not recklessly, they just seem to find an overdrive to the game that they're trying to play minute by minute. And that was one such moment. The rhythm was great from the shot, didn't carry much of a sting. Here's Tomiyasu. And Sugawara, both have played in England. Tomiyasu with Arsenal, quite a long spell until injury rather ruined it for him. And so he's gone to Ajax on a short-term deal.
That's that cutback. It's actually Sugawara. Apologies, I thought it was Tomiyasu. And Sugawara got himself in a nice position, but it's kind of leaning back a little bit. The ball was just a fraction behind him there.
Make. It's another what we have, we hold move. Placing Ryan Gravenberg, who's been excellent. Ronald's not taking too many risks, and whether he's going to invite pressure here, we'll see.
I think he's expecting it, Martin. I think he'll expect Japan now to... They've loaded their forward line a little bit more with Ogawa and Ito alongside Ueda. I think he sees them perhaps throwing caution to the wind a bit, and he wants to match that.
It's a pretty big back line he's got.
It is.
5 of them, really. All of them can play central defence. Ueda coming short, get involved. Wanted it played back for a run that he made. In behind. Tomiyasu. Sugawara, nice touch from Yuna Ito. Depay, a spell in England, didn't he, with Manchester United, didn't really work out for it. But he's played around the world, and it has worked out for him, and he's played a lot of international football with great success. It's good in the air, so it's a very good challenge by Ito. That's a throw out of it.
Yeah, good battle in there from Ito. To get his team a throw. Sugawara again decide to put this one down quickly.
Right, Tomiyasu. Put it away. Van Dijk is scoring the first goal. And the red card is out for Depay. Taken over from Marlon up front. He did have a little look.
That's the right call. He's had a look at him. Yeah, he's had a look at Taniguchi there. I tell you what, he's caught him right in the face.
Yeah. Well, he hasn't disturbed those contact lenses. Into Guy from Wolfsburg in his third cap. On for Bereda. Mr. Cave for Nijmegen, NEC Nijmegen in Holland. Nice tidy work by Frankie de Jong. It's just to keep ticking over de Jong.
He does. He's always available, Frankie de Jong. He's not the best when his team go out of possession in terms of his defensive work, but he's always available, and he's a good reader of the game and situations, no doubt about that. And again, clever to take the foul there. The more they break the game up, the Netherlands, then the quicker they'll get all 3 points.
And Cody Gakpo is off, and Ryan Brobby played a big part in Sunderland's success there. Got themselves into Europe for next season. I think just been promoted from the Premier League. I think Brobby is a presence. In. It's rather a wasted cross. Guy bust something on it. Complaining to the assistant, he thought he was being fouled in. It seemed a great deal in it. Ito. Sugawara. And from Sano. Just be in trouble yet, the Netherlands. They still might be in trouble. Ito. Tomiyasu trying to keep the pressure on with a little knockdown header.
Oh, what a ball across the box, wasn't it? Stunning ball, but just couldn't get a blue shirt on the end of it.
So we are, with the countdown at the start, we are counting down now to the final outcome here. Contest that only in truth they really got going in the second half, but boy did it get going. And it isn't finished yet. You almost feel that there'll come a time where Zion Suzuki will go up himself. He's a tall man, the goalkeeper. They've got a lot of big fellas at the back in orange. Salo. Ito, Tomiyasu. And Ito's done well. Hamada wins a corner.
Belanda bench not happy with that decision, but good play again. He's been sharp, Ito, since he's come on. He's always looked forward and been positive with the ball at his feet. It's exactly what Japan needed.
Take the corner, scored the winner against Scotland in Glasgow in March. Can't get enough depth into the set play. Nakamura scored the first equaliser. Is there a second in the game? Sugawara. A lovely ball. Ito's another corner.
Oh, he's got to do it first time, Martin. It's a stunning ball. It's a brilliant pass to Ito there, but maybe there wasn't anything available along the 6-yard line and he had to have that touch, but you feel like he's got to play that first time. It's a brilliant through ball.
Ito with the corner. It's 2-2. It's Ogawa. It's Bedlam here in Dallas. Never right off Japan. 1-0 down, 2-1 down. And here they are battling deep into the afternoon to make it 2-2.
Well, we'd expect nothing less of Japan than to keep going. I just wonder whether the Bruggen feels he's got to save that. I do. He's got to stop that one. I mean, it's a great leap. There is a deflection. But I think he helps that one into the roof of the net. I think he's got to save that, I really do. He may not have seen that deflection, but smiles all around for Moriyasu and everybody on the Japan bench. And, of course, the stadium goes crazy.
Well, we talked about his record in qualifying, 6 goals in qualifying. He's got one on the big stage here, and what a vital one. He plays in the Netherlands. How about that? Been given to Canada. We must have got another touch.
Well, there was that deflection, Martin.
Yeah.
Wasn't quite sure from the angles we saw exactly who it was who it hit.
A 2-2, that's all that matters.
Yeah. What a second half with that.
6 minutes to go. Well, they came back from 2-0 down to beat Brazil. It was a friendly back in October.
It's a yellow card for Mickey van der Ven. Absolutely there, no complaints. He's been great, Junior Ito. He really has number 14. Been terrific since he's come on.
He plays in Belgium. Yellow card has been posted for Mickey van der Ven. Whether he was complaining about the corner, the award of the corner.
Yeah, maybe, Martin, yeah.
And we didn't see any VAR check, or we weren't informed of any VAR check. Of course, it had been a wrongly awarded corner. The goal wouldn't have stood.
That's true.
Well, Ronald Koeman decided that 2-1 was a defendable lead.
Yeah, and I think that was a mistake today, I do. Because he took off the player that Japan were most fearful of. And I tell you what, that makes such a difference to the momentum in the game.
Still got 4 minutes to go. A rip-roaring start to World Cup life in Dallas, in cowboy country. Ake. What's going through the minds of the Dutch players now? And 2 or 3 of them have been brought on to protect the advantage, like Cope Miners and Nathan Ake on 3 crosses. And then one that's there.
Decent ball in for sure, but it was tough one to get over the top of. That's that equalising
It
goal.
just hit Kamada, didn't it? You
Yeah.
could see he didn't know anything about it. But in those circumstances, he's quite a diffident sort of person. I'm sure he probably wouldn't go chasing it, but he should get it because he had the last touch. All happened in a flash, but a flash of delight for Japan. I'm not sure that was meant. If it was,
Let's just send the ball down the tunnel there on the far side.
twice Dutch team have led. Twice Japan have pegged them back. It's Sweden against Tunisia to come later today, our time. Game of two halves, Mr. Townsend.
Yeah, it certainly has been. Yeah.
The psychology of this game is extraordinary. Now Japan is just saying we're going to protect 2-2. Could that be a dangerous philosophy? Van Dijk.
Great ball.
Now trying to get it away.
Yeah, terrific work that between Dumfries and Quinton Timber there. Just get in behind, just for a split second, you thought a cross was coming.
Away by Yanaguchi. There goes Van Hecke. There might yet be another goal in this game, even though we are dealing in seconds. There's still a chance here. Vito. Well, we've seen some of what the Netherlands can offer. Always a team to reckon with in a major tournament. But they've been pegged back twice. That final little deflection by Daichi Kamada, providing the second equaliser from Agawa's header. It looked as though it would be Somerville's summer's day in Dallas, but his goal, the 2-1 goal, wasn't enough. Virgil van Dijk opened the scoring. It was so much better game in the second half. All the goals coming in the second period, and a point apiece in the start of Group F. Give us some considered thoughts on that.
Well, I enjoy it first and foremost. Never want to lose your first game, Martin, when you turn up at a World Cup. You really don't. It puts you on the back foot. Everybody firing questions at you, you're under pressure immediately. So I get the way this game started. From the two strongest teams in this group, it was quite cautious, I think, particularly from Japan in the first half.